Jordan.
Hey, how are you?
I'm doing so well. How are you doing?
I am awesome. Just getting all set up here. Can you see me, hear me, all that?
Oh, so good, so good. For all you who are
Wonderful.
tuning in, thanks so much for joining us. My name is Anna Lee with Broadway in Chicago, and I'm joined by Jordan Litz from Wicked, who plays Fiyero. So if y'all have any questions for Jordan, go ahead and put them in the comments. We'll get to as many as possible. We had a lot of questions come in, so we're just going to jump right in.
Let's
First,
go.
have you been to Chicago before?
I have been to Chicago one time. I had an audition here, I think 4 years ago. It was the middle of January, and it was 1 degree outside with a -17 wind chill. And I said, I'm not sure. Not sure about this, but the weather's been beautiful here, and I love it so far.
Well, happy to have you here. Now, I saw on your Instagram story you recently did a pizza tasting.
Yes.
What was
Yeah,
that? And what's your favorite Chicago pizza? We have to know.
Oh man, I think I'm gonna get some heat for this, but the winner of the night was Pisano's. It was also the least expensive pizza. We tried Giordano's, we tried Lou Malnati's, we tried Gino's East and Uno. I guess Uno is supposedly like the original deep dish pizza, but Pisano's won out shockingly.
There we go. There we go. Well, that's awesome. Do you have any other, plans or things you want to see while you're in Chicago?
Um, let's see. We're planning on doing the turkey trot. I got a group of the Wicked cast together, so we're gonna do a turkey trot through the city on Thanksgiving Day. Just go see as many of the parks as we can, museums, things like that. With 8 shows a week, it's tough to like go and do stuff in the evening. I see people saying Pequods on the down here. I know we didn't try Pequods yet. Everybody's been saying that like that's the go-to Chicago pizza. So I'll come back. I'll have that and then I'll come back.
So good.
But yeah, we're just gonna try and do as much as we can. Like a river cruise and just maybe like an architecture tour and things like that because there's so much great history in this city.
Absolutely. I will say, like, I think the architecture boat tour is like one of the top things that you could do here. It's really so beautiful. And honestly, even if you're not a tourist, if you're a Chicagoan, you got to see it. It's really beautiful.
Yeah, absolutely. Done.
So we have a question here about, where did you go to college?
Yeah, I went to a school called Fresno Pacific University. It's a small private Christian university. I mainly went there because I got recruited to swim there. And they had a great team. And we sent like 5 or 6 people to Olympic trials in 2012. And so that was really my main purpose in going to that school. And then when I didn't make the Olympic team, I kind of had to like reevaluate what else I was good at, and singing was it. So I kind of went back to school, changed my major to vocal performance, and then my last semester of college, I had to do a musical as part of the curriculum, and then I fell into musical theater at the very end of my college career.
So good. So, you competing in the Olympic trials is incredible. So what came first? Was it swimming, or was acting or singing part of your history growing up?
Singing was definitely part of my growing up. Both my parents were music majors in college. My dad played trumpet. My mom was the music director at all of my churches growing up. So I was in the choirs, I was in the praise team playing drums. I was like constantly involved, but it was never really something that I ever imagined doing professionally for a career. And I envisioned myself being an Olympic swimmer, and that's what I was going to do. So obviously that didn't pan out, and this worked out, and it's honestly been the best thing that's ever happened to me.
That's good. So what is your initial connection to Wicked? Did you have a love for it when, the show came out years ago?
Yeah, yeah, what's funny is I was in high school. I think I was maybe a freshman in high school when the musical came out on Broadway. And I will be completely honest, I did not like it. I heard like a few songs, I heard popular, and I was in that like I'm too cool for musical theater and music phase, being a freshman in high school and that sort of thing. And so I think that kind of swayed me into thinking that maybe this wasn't for me. And then I saw the production, a sit down production in San Francisco back in, I want to say 2012, I think is when it was. And when I saw that, I saw Fiyero, and I was like, "Oh, I'll never do this. This is way too much dancing. I have no dancing training." Um, so it was completely off of my radar at that point, until later on when I fell into this. But yeah, my first connection with Wicked was this isn't really my thing, but it's obviously changed a little bit.
And now you're here, you are on tour. We have a question here about how did you feel when you got the call about booking Wicked?
Oh my gosh. I mean, it was a dream come true. I was on the streets of New York, and it was like one of those movie cinematic moments where my manager called me and told me that I was going to be playing Fiyero on the tour. And I think I was actually in a coffee shop at that moment. So I had to like kind of stifle my reaction and walk outside really fast and then scream at the top of my lungs. And it was just, oh man, it was unbelievable. It was so cool.
So how was tour life? Is this your tour debut? Correct me if I'm.
It is, yeah. I haven't really done too much. I worked at Disney World for about 3.5 years. I met my wife there, and then we both moved to New York together in 2019. And then I did the Radio City Christmas Spectacular, and then got cast in this right after that. So this has been my first like big musical theater experience.
How has tour life been for you? Do you enjoy being on the road, or do you kind of prefer, staying in one spot?
There are advantages to both, but I love the tour life, especially with Wicked. Wicked makes it so easy. They take such great care of you. They set up everything for you, travel, housing. You sit down in cities for long periods of time. For instance, we're here in Chicago for 10 weeks. That is a long time for a tour to sit down. A lot of tours maybe do a week or even a weekend or sometimes even a day. So 10 weeks, at the end of that, you really feel like you live wherever it is that you were. So that's really special. And then it's really special to have my wife out here with me. During the pandemic, she got a job working remotely. And we were like, why don't we just buy a car and we can drive the tour together? We'll grab our dog, and we've been seeing the country together, which has been really, really cool.
Oh, how special to be able to travel with your partner and be on this journey together.
Hmm.
So incredible. Alrighty, well, we have, you know, being on tour, and this company is just so spectacular. You all have such great chemistry. Um, are you team Alphaba or Glinda?
Oh no, don't do this to me. I think I have a great respect for both of the roles. Obviously, Elphaba is like the hardest sing on Broadway. It is a beast. And Lissa, and I worked with Talia before this, both of those girls, I got so lucky to work with witches that were incredibly consistent, great scene partners, and just rocks as far as like never calling out. Their voices never faltered. It's truly unbelievable how difficult Alphabet is, but how easy they made it seem. But then I have an equal amount of respect for Glinda because it's a tough act. There's so much comedy involved, and you're on stage constantly driving each scene that you're in. And Jennifer and Allison, the two Glindas that I've worked with, have been just phenomenal in that respect.
Now, you yourself, like being in the show, it is a bit of a marathon show. It's a really long show. What do you, as an actor, do prepare for a show typically?
The biggest thing for me is I have to get a workout in. It helps warm up my body. It helps warm up my mind. It helps warm up my voice. So that is the number one thing. Even if I don't warm up vocally before I go on stage, if I have done some sort of exercise before I go out there, it already does a lot of the work for me. So that's number one. Obviously, eating as clean as you can during the week helps a lot. Not eating too close before going to sleep and things like that. And then just going crazy on the weekends and having all the deep dish pizza and ice cream and popcorn and all the special stuff. But yeah, trying to take care of yourself during the week as best as possible. I love a good steam room. Sitting in any sort of steam room is unbelievable, just to kind of like coat everything and get everything loosened up. And I love that.
Absolutely. So with being an actor, I'm sure comes a bit of rejection as well. We have a question here about, how have you overcome negativity in your career?
I think my swimming background helped me immensely in that regard. In the swimming world and in the athletic world, there is always someone better. And it's a very objective thing as well. Like you look at the clock at the end of a race and it's very obvious who was better. It's not as obvious in the musical theater world. So in the swimming world, I just got used to losing. I know that sounds weird, but you will always get beat by someone. I raced against Michael Phelps several times in my career. I raced against Ryan Lochte, and those guys, I never won. So you just get used to battling against that kind of pressure and that kind of those no's and those losses. And I think that prepared me for coming into this world where I knew that I was going to lose a lot in that sense, getting a lot of no's. So it's never really affected me that much. Occasionally there's a couple of heartbreaks. It took me 3 times to get into Wicked. And I know that second time I really thought that it was mine, and it didn't come through. But besides that, I've been able to deal with the rejection of this industry pretty well because of my athletic background.
Absolutely. Jumping back to the show, Fiyero, we have a question here. Fiyero has a lot of great one-liners. Do you have a favorite one from the show?
I would say that my favorite line that Fiyero delivers is, "After as long as you're mine," Elphaba says, "I just wish that I could be beautiful for you. Don't tell me that I am. You don't have to lie to me." And then Fiyero, I think, has the heart of the show. He says, "It's not lying. It's looking at things a different way or another way." And I think that's just like, that is the essence of what the show is. And I think that it's really cool that Fiyero gets to deliver that line, which kind of sums up everything that the show is about. But it's not a funny line. I think one of my favorite funny lines that he says is, that he lives in the other castle. I think that's really cute. Things like that. Maybe the driver saw green and thought it meant go. All of those like classic dorky one-liners. But as far as the serious ones, I love that line, "As long as you're mine."
You are doing 8 shows a week. You've been on tour for a long time. How do you keep the Fiyero fresh for you?
I think it comes back to the athletic world again. I've never had the perfect show, and I'm always striving for that, which is a blessing and a curse because it keeps you trying things and it keeps you pushing yourself every day, but also you're never satisfied. And in the athletic world, I swam the same event, the 200 IM, 400 IM, my entire career. And people are always like, "Didn't you ever get bored of swimming that event?" Well, no, not really, because I was always trying to make some sort of adjustment and some sort of improvement to have that perfect race, which unfortunately I never had. So it's the same with this show. I'm always striving to deliver that line just slightly better or hit that high note just a little cleaner. So I think it's that striving for perfection that keeps it fresh for me. And these girls that I work with make it so easy as well.
No, I think you explained so perfectly there how it might not feel like you're directly in this athletic world, but being an actor and being on tour like you are, you're an athlete doing this.
Oh, no doubt. Absolutely. Me, not quite as much as the girls. The girls are doing a lot more work than I am. But yeah, I do a lot of movement in this show, which I have to stay fresh for. I've been battling a knee injury for several years that like kind of haunts me occasionally here and there. But yeah, you got to stay fresh. You got to stay focused. Otherwise, the audience will eat you alive, and they know immediately when you've checked out.
Absolutely. Okay, well, we have a lot of people asking about, what is a dream role for you?
A dream role. Let's see. I mean, obviously Fiyero is a dream role. But I think it's that role that I get to create myself, whatever that may be. I'm not sure when it'll come or what it'll be, but something that I get to make my own. Because when you think of Fiyero, you think whoever the original guy was, Norbert Leo Butz. When you think of Evan Hansen, you think of Ben Platt. no matter how many people come after you, you always think of that original person as setting the mold of whoever that character is. So I think it would be cool to create that character from the ground up and be whoever that is. I don't know what the role is, but I think like a Gatsby in a Gatsby musical would be pretty cool. I'd love to do something like that, like a 1920s kind of Dixieland feel sort of music, and I think that would be fun.
Absolutely. Well, we are nearing the end of our time, but to round us off, what do you hope, our audiences walk away with after seeing the show and specifically this touring company?
I think that this company has something very special to it. I love the Broadway company and I love all the shows that are out there representing Wicked. But I think that the touring company has something really special in that we eat, sleep, and breathe Wicked wherever we go. It's not just our evening, 9 to 5. We come in and we give our heart and soul to this show every single day, because we're out on the road 24/7. We think about nothing but Fiyero, or nothing but Wicked. See, exactly. So I think that is truly unique and special about this cast is that we are 100% in it all the time, and I couldn't be more blessed to be surrounded by this group of cast members.
Oh, good. Well, Jordan, thank you so much for sharing your time and talent with us. We are so grateful. For all of you who are watching, come out, see Wicked. It's here at the James M. Nederlander Theater until December 4th only. So it's here for a good amount of time, but come out, come see it. Tickets available at BroadwayInChicago.com. There's also rush tickets. There's also digital lottery. There's in-person lottery. All that information at BroadwayInChicago.com. Come out, see Jordan, see all the rest of the talented company. You won't regret it. Jordan,
No doubt.
Again. Oh,
Thank you for having me.
Sorry, Jordan, yeah. Where can people find you? Where can people keep up with you?
It's pretty easy. Just Litz Jordan on basically every social media, Instagram, Twitter, all of those things. It's just Litz Jordan, last name, first name. You're good to go.
Awesome. Thank you, Jordan, again. And to all who are watching, thanks so much. And until next time.
Thanks for having me. See ya.